Tennessee football 2023 season as a whole, your thoughts, positives, negatives? I think there's some disappointment there. And what do you want to see from Tennessee against Vanderbilt? That's favorite side dishes, a whole lot more. It's your Thanksgiving Day themed Locked On Vols.
You are Locked On Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome into Locked On Vols. It is your team every single day. Shout out everydayers for making this show what it is. The push to 10K on the Locked On Vols YouTube channel. It's still going strong. If you haven't already, please subscribe there. But wanted to give you guys an outlet here on Thanksgiving. If you wanted to get away from the mother-in-law, wanted to get away from the wife, the kids, whatever the case may be, get you about 35 minutes of Locked On Vols. I wanted to have it here for you on Thanksgiving. But I do want you guys all to know I'm super thankful for each and every one of you, and I hope you guys have an awesome, awesome day. So with that being said, got a fun show packed in here today. Subscribe, follow, all that good stuff, and let's get into it. Got Landon Raby, More Important Issues, a host of More Important Issues, the Tennessee podcast. Have him on for segments 1 and 2. Give this a listen. Good conversation with Landon Raby. All right, Landon, so I think the majority of the people listening right now and watching kind of know who you are. This is Landon Raby. He and Caleb Mitchell host the More Important Issues Tennessee podcast. You guys have been doing this for quite a while now, right? I mean, a couple of years. Y'all go twice a week. How long has it been?
We started in 2016, of December of 2016, so going on 7 years. Now that I say that out loud, that's insane. But yeah, it's been a long ride, but yeah, it just keeps going. It helps that Tennessee is in a good position and kind of all three of those big sports right there. But yeah, it's rolling.
Yeah, to put that into perspective, Landon has been podcasting a lot longer than I have, and I feel like I've been doing it forever. So,
well, as much as you podcast throughout the week, you told me before we started recording here that you were doing 11 shows a week. You've got to be catching me at some point.
With maybe episodes. So, yeah. Football season, man. As you know, man, it's a blast. Obviously, because we're football fans, we love football. It's been fun, as you mentioned, last couple of years under Josh Heupel. But also, when you do this for a living, it's when you make your money too. So, like, I love football season for so many different reasons. It's kind of sad when it comes to the end, and that's kind of where we are right now. It's Thanksgiving Day. Tennessee plays Vanderbilt in 2 days to kind of cap the regular season, and what's your overall thoughts on this year? I mean, likely an 8-4 finish, 4-4 in SEC play. Got to handle business Saturday, but I'm pretty confident Tennessee can do that against a Vanderbilt club. Kind of what's your thoughts on this year overall here, year number 3 for Josh Heupel?
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster just because the way some games have played out, but it's also kind of right where a lot of people thought we would be at 8-4. Maybe 9-3 was out there too, but 8-4 was definitely on the table. I don't think anybody thought Missouri was going to be as good as they are. Florida, you look back on that one, and that's just one that you lost, and another game that you blew in the swamp against a team that's just not very good. But yeah, I think if you close out the season, take care of business against Vanderbilt, win the bowl game. I mean, that's one of the best seasons Tennessee's had, and since Phil Fulmer was fired. So I know it hasn't been all, great stuff throughout the season, but again, you got to kind of see like where we've been and where we are now. And again, expectations from last year, I think we were a little spoiled with Hendon Hooker and Jalen Hyatt and a lot of those guys. But again, you're number 21. I don't know how we're number 21 in the college football playoff, but we are. So you got to kind of look at that and just be like, okay, like this is the program is here, and that's about all you could ask for without that loss to Florida.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of surprising to an extent that Tennessee's still, the top 25 in the AP, I think 24 in the coaches, 21 in the CFP. But then you look at it, and Tennessee's lost games to number 1, number 8, and number 9, I think. And then there's Florida that you've mentioned. And so, you've lost to good teams. The way you've lost is disappointing. I'll say that. I mean, you didn't even show up at Missouri. I mean, the Georgia game kind of went exactly how I thought it would. I was hoping Tennessee would put up more of a fight, a little bit, score some more points, but I mean, losing by double figures is what I expected against Georgia. So I get all that. I guess I've talked about it a little bit over the week already. You're 8-4, and you mentioned this. Again, one of the better seasons you've had since Fulmer. Second time it's happened since 2016. Only the fourth time it's happened overall since Fulmer. And if 8-4 is your floor, now you don't want to settle for that.
Sure.
But if 8-4 is your floor, I mean, I think it just goes and shows you how healthy your program is. And again, considering where you've been, I mean, if 8-4 is your floor, and if fans are disappointed in an 8-4 finish, which they are, and that's fine, I get it, then I still think it's just a testament to how healthy your program is right now, knowing you got room to grow and you got to continue going. But I think that says a lot considering what we've seen the last 15 years.
Yeah, I mean, like most of the highlights and stuff that you saw before Josh Heupel was here was from that 2016 year, and that they had the same record, 9-4.
Yeah.
So I know that they kind of blew it throughout the, that Vanderbilt and South Carolina loss, but yeah, it is healthy program. It is growing. You got a good recruiting class coming in. I think there is stuff to be excited for. It's just these last 2 weeks has kind of been dull. Just the way that it's transpired and the way that you showed up and you're not scoring points. And that's the issue is yeah, our defense hasn't been good since Josh Heupel's been here. It's been better at times this year, but Josh Heupel's here to score points, and you scored 17 points in the last 8 quarters. You scored 40 touchdowns so far this season. You had 79 in total last year. So that's a big difference. And so I go back to we were spoiled last year, but the fact of the matter is the offense just hasn't been good enough to get you kind of over that hump of 9-3, chance to win 10 games in a season.
Yeah, I read this stat from Jordan Moore earlier in the week on my show, and Josh Heupel's offensive touchdowns in conference games as a head coach, 44 in 2018, 43 in 2019, 45 in 2020. That was a shortened season. 36 in 2021, 45 in 2022, and so far in 23 with 1 game remaining, only 16. You mentioned 17 points in the last 8 quarters, 2 touchdowns in the last 8 quarters. Your second half offense in conference play has just been abysmal. So I'm with you there. This year's been different because, and I cannot wait to dive into the numbers and kind of do a couple stories over VolQuest and kind of bring it on the show of kind of how different this year was compared to what Heupel's done as a play caller at the FBS level, because it's been different. It's been different for sure. Where have you guys been on Joe Milton this year? I mean, have you guys been he's probably your best chance right now. You don't want to ruin Nico, don't want to rush Nico in. Have you guys should have been benching Nico? Kind of where you guys have been on Joe Milton throughout the season here in 23?
Yeah, I mean, I was super hopeful this season. Look at the Orange Bowl game. He was good. I think there's a little bit of fool's gold in there with just how well the defense played. And, you probably could have won that game by a lot more than you did. But he just hasn't made enough plays. He's not been good enough to win you a football game. And again, going back to we were spoiled last year with Hendon Hooker. He was a Heisman candidate. I think there was going to be a drop off. But it's the accuracy. It's nothing is easy with this offense right now.
Yeah.
Everything is difficult. The slants last year with Jalen Hyatt and Brew McCoy and Said, and it seemed like a layup for that offense. It was so easy to pick up 6 to 10 yards. With this offense, it's even a slant feels like it's the most difficult thing that we can do at times. It's the wide receiver comes out of your break, you're expecting that in the chest. It's behind him, it's high, and then there's not a lot of time to adjust when you're throwing a 100-mile-an-hour fastball in there. So I know Joe hasn't been helped out a whole lot with receiver play and offensive line play, but you're the quarterback. That comes with the territory. You've scored 17 points in the last 8 quarters. It's on you.
Yeah, it's not been good enough. That is for sure. And I would agree. I think I mean, I'm not sitting here saying Joe Milton, it's not his fault, not his fault. I mean, clearly he has got to be better, but I do think just the whole operation, man. Like, there were a couple of plays in that Georgia game, and sure, Georgia's good, and that last year cornerback is good, and they got good defensive backs, but I mean, Ramel Keaton, make a play. Caleb Webb in the end zone. That would have been a tough catch. I get that. I like the ball from Joe Milton because he threw it to only where Caleb Webb could get it. Dude, come down and make a play, I mean, Chaz Nimrod, I know you're getting interfered with and the guy's pulling your hand down. Make a play there on the ball that's just a tad bit underthrown. Like, Joe's not been perfect, but those are just 3 examples from last game where I'm like, man, could Cedric Tillman come down with that? Could Brew McCoy find a way to come, Jalen Hyatt? There's not been anyone, Joe included, and it starts with Joe, that's just like, I'm going to go out there and make a football play. I haven't seen that at all this year on the offensive end. I think that, Joe Milton's not Hendon Hooker. Never was going to be Hendon Hooker. Joe Milton's been very average to below average this year. But there's also not been him or anybody else just stepping up and saying, hey, I'm a dog. Let me go make a play. And I think that's been, compared to the first 2 years, something that's just been drastically different this year.
And it's so inconsistent too, because like he'll make a throw and you're like, wow, that was a really good throw, and then the next one will be behind somebody. And I know it's not the same thing, but you watched Carson Beck last week, and everything that he threw. Now he has the best offensive line in the country, where he's not really getting pressured at all. I understand that, but everything he threw was on a dime, right where it needed to be. And like, Tennessee wasn't good enough talent-wise to probably win that football game, but when you have a receiver that has a step or two on a DB, you got to hit him. And, he overthrew Squirrel White. That's a play that really stands out in that one. But, yeah, he hasn't had a ton of help from the receiver position this year. And it's like, it's been a big thing for me because I played receiver. So, like, I know they get new gloves every single game. Like, those are brand new sticky gloves. How do you drop passes? I don't understand that aspect of it. How do you not come down with some of those balls? I know at Carson Newman, we didn't have that luxury to have new gloves every game, but these guys do. Yeah. So, like, and I know it's a huge difference when you're able to have kind of that stickiness to it. Those brand new gloves straight out of the box. I mean, it's hard to beat. So yeah, he hasn't had a whole lot of help, but he can't make a play out of nothing. And it's just like when you need some, like a certain third down, like when you have to throw the football, it just seems like the chances are slim to none.
Yeah, no, I would agree with all that. I want to continue this conversation about the quarterback, Tennessee overall this season, and what we're looking forward to come here as we come back here on a Thanksgiving Day edition of Locked On Vols. Stick around. All right, so we're talking Joe Milton. We're talking Tennessee's offense, and I mean, I know the backup quarterback is always the most popular player on anybody's football team. And you knew the first incompletion from Joe Milton this year, there'd be the Nico chance. It just highlighted by the number 1 overall player in the country, the $8 million man, Nico Iamaleava. And you knew that was coming. But tell me if I'm wrong here. I know a lot of the fan base would disagree, and that's fair. But when you're kind of looking at it, there's not really been an opportunity this year to say, all right, well, Joe's bench, put in Nico. So think about it. Like, struggled in Austin Peay. Okay. You go on, struggled against Florida. Also made a couple throws against Florida, but, everybody struggled against Florida. Okay, it's early in the year. Horrible game. His worst game against A&M, okay, at the time at least. But you were not going to turn around. I mean, Alabama was next. No. Or was South Carolina? No, Alabama was next, right? Yeah, Alabama was next. You're not going to turn around and start a freshman on the road at Alabama.
No.
So that's just not going to happen. Joe comes back, plays pretty well at Alabama. Team didn't show up in the second half, him included, but played pretty well against Alabama. Go to Kentucky, he plays really well. Come back against UConn, you handle business. And then you crap the bed against Missouri, he and everybody else did. But then again, you're not going to start a true freshman against the number 1 ranked team in the country. So, like, for me, it's like, sure, Joe's not been good enough. At points in times, he's gotten better. I think the incorporation of him running the football has helped him get confidence and all that. There was a little stretch there mid-season where he was playing some pretty good football. But even when you were as frustrated, rational Vol fans, I know that's tough. But even when you were as frustrated as all get out at your quarterback, name me a time that you would have been like, okay, well, now's the time to go put Nico in. I'm going to make a quarterback change. It never really felt like a good opportunity. That's the way I see it. How do you see that?
Yeah, the stars never really align for it to happen. Even
Oh,
even
and then this Saturday's senior day.
yeah,
Like he's
it's
going to get
senior
the
day.
start.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So I don't know where I'm kind of at. I see it. I do see it from both sides. Like I think you want to prepare for next year, but you also can't just like punt the season, especially
Yeah.
on senior day. You can't just like, oh, we're playing all the freshmen now, but we haven't before then. That just doesn't make any sense to me.
Like I've seen this rhetoric like all year long from some disgruntled Vol fans like, yeah, he knew after Florida he wasn't the guy. Should have made a change right then and there. Like that's game 3 of the year. It's like that's your first conference game. Like, I mean, and Nico maybe could have won some of those games. I don't know, but like that's just pretty much saying like, all right, I'm giving up like at the beginning of the season. So I don't know.
Yeah, and maybe Nico wins that game at Florida. Let's say he does. Does he win any of those other games? I just have a hard time thinking he does with the way the defense and everybody else played.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, the way everybody didn't show up in the second half against Alabama, not winning that game. You're not winning Georgia. The way the team no-showed completely. Again, like Joe's not been good, but the team has not been good in a lot of these losses. There's a lot of trends in these losses for Tennessee. Can't run the football, third downs defensively, third downs offensively. I mean, it's been a whole mixed bag. Having said all that, Joe Milton would get the start senior day. Vanderbilt, I mean, goodness gracious, should go in there and ball out. But knowing that you should win this game pretty handedly, knowing that you're already bowl eligible, knowing that Nico's your guy in 24, man, I think you should go in there and you should say, all right, no matter what, Nico's getting the 4th series. No matter what, Nico's getting the 7th series or 3rd and 6th or whatever the case is. So like Joe gets the start, he's the starter, but you're going to work Nico in. I feel like you should do that instead of waiting until you're up 5 touchdowns for him to get 2 series in the second half. Like there should be a plan in place to work him and a lot of these other freshmen on Saturday, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just play him. Play him. Like why we go like when we do play him, then he has 2 series and we go gas him more and what is that doing for you? I don't understand that at all. No offense to those guys, but like in reality, like if Tennessee is having to lean on one of those guys to run the offense, pack it up. So I don't understand that. I don't understand the red shirt thing. Number one, you said you weren't going to red shirt him, and now we didn't play him against Georgia because you want to preserve it, whatever. But I think you do play him on Saturday. Now, you don't start him, but you do play him. Play him the whole second half. And I'm not really too much concerned about I am concerned about the quarterback position as a whole, but like I'm more concerned with other positions of not playing young guys. Like Ricky Gibson should have played. Yeah. He comes in late in that game and has a pass breakup. Like why wasn't he playing before then? Elijah Herring hasn't played well. The last 2 years, I think his Pro Football Focus grade, which I know Pro Football Focus grades, you can say what you want about him, but he's like a 30 the past 2 weeks. Why is he still getting opportunities? Jeremiah Thielander has shown well. Caleb Perry's looked okay at times. Why are they not getting opportunities? I have more trouble with other positions than quarterback than I guess some people want to see Nico as soon as Joe Milton overthrew a pass in the Virginia game.
Mm-hmm. So Jeremiah Thielander last week, I noticed it in real time, and I'm checking the snap counts right now. They made a point to like try to almost go 50-50 with Thielander and Herring last week. Thielander had 29 snaps, Herring had 38. So Herring, got 9 more snaps than Thielander, but you're right, man. That 34.8, I think he was at 35-ish. The week before against Missouri. And again, that's really bad. He's not the only one. Andre Turrentine, which, man, I thought he got burned on that trick play and everything. I mean, he wasn't great, but I mean, Andre Turrentine, a 34 grade according to Pro Football Focus. That's kind of bizarre to me. But anyway, some of these young, like you can't play young offensive linemen because just not there yet. Young defensive lineman, Weathersby would have played this year. He got hurt. Hobbs has played. He's been in the rotation a little bit. Caleb Herring's not been there as much. He was a little bit against Georgia and Missouri because of some injuries. They played young linebackers. I guess John Slaughter and Jordan Matthews aren't ready to go, but I'm with you on Ricky Gibson. Like they should have continued to play him and work him in to make him be more of a factor, kind of this football season. You mentioned that there. Let's look ahead to 24 real quick. So much to be determined on who's going to be on this roster. I think a couple of those defensive linemen will come back. I think you'll get maybe a win or two on the offensive line for some of these guys that want to take advantage of their COVID years. And if that's the case, it totally changes the trajectory of what this team can be. But if a lot of those guys leave, man, you're in trouble at the line of scrimmage. And we'll see what happens at the running back position. But either way, you feel good because Sampson's back. I feel confident in saying either Small or Wright will be back. Wright, I think, will go to the NFL, but if he doesn't, he's back. And if he comes back, I'm sure Jabari Small won't want to come back. He'll want to go somewhere else. But Jabari Small will play somewhere, because he's got another year. Cam Seldon as well. You're good at running back. Receiver, you're going to need some help there and everything. But what are you kind of early looking ahead to 24? Kind of what are your expectations?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big offseason for a lot of those guys. I think it's going to be a big offseason to get in the portal, get some – I think you need help at tight end. I think you need help at receiver, obviously. What does Dante Thornton look like? I didn't know. Like, we heard so much good about Dante Thornton, and this is kind of going on a tangent, but I just always thought it was weird that his numbers weren't higher at Oregon, where they just choose in the Pac-12 not to play offense. Or not to play defense, sorry.
Yeah.
I just didn't understand why his numbers were so low, and then he just wasn't much of a factor, and then he finally becomes one, and then that's how that works out. So, yeah, I think your team was beat up, and I think there is a lack of depth. I was also looking at it today, and I noticed an issue, and there is no true juniors on this team besides Jalen Wright that's a factor. That 2021 class was a wash. I mean, your top 7 guys, I think, in that class aren't even on this roster anymore.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's a big hole that you're seeing is there's the COVID guys and there's freshmen and sophomores, and that's about it. Now, there's some transfers sprinkled in there, but that's what your roster consists of right now. And I think that's an issue where you have some guys that aren't ready, and you have some guys that are just peaked at their talent. And so you're going with those guys at peak, but they're probably not making a ton of plays, but the other guys aren't ready.
No. Something to look at in the offseason for sure. Transfer portal, finishing off the class of 24, getting those 25s lined up and ready to go. Real quick out the door, man, how excited are you for the prospects of this Tennessee basketball team? Played in Maui this week, time of this recording. I'm not sure of the outcome on Wednesday, but a lot of depth there, a lot of excitement. Of course, this baseball team, it's kind of reloading, but boy, there's a lot of bats for that lineup.
Yeah, as long as we can stay out of foul trouble, which I think as soon as we got on this show today, that me and you got called for a foul.
Yeah.
After that Purdue game, so it just they look good. I mean, they can score, and that's something that we've needed. Dalton Connect and Jordan Gainey can light it up. I think the veterans are coming along. Josiah's playing the best basketball he's played in his career. I think Adu and Owaka, if they can stay out of foul trouble, are going to be good, especially against quality bigs like you've seen against Purdue and now Kansas with Hunter Dickinson and Zach Edey. I just like the depth. I like the defense is always going to keep you in games, and now that we can score, and I think that the ceiling is the roof for this basketball team.
I like it, man. Should be an exciting game. It should be an exciting season, and you guys are going to be talking about it over at More Important Issues all season long. You guys, tell us your schedule. Y'all are twice a week. Baseball season, you're 3 times a week. When do you guys go live? I know we can find that on Twitter, Facebook, and, of course, your YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, so we go Thursday night at 8, Sunday night at 8. And you can check us out. You can also check out on anywhere you get podcasts, Spotify, Apple Play, Google Play, whatever you get your podcasts at. You can find us on there. We'll do a baseball show come baseball season on Monday nights. I think around 6 is the plan going forward for that. So, it's called the Bat Flip. Just check us out. Appreciate you having me on the show, man. I feel like I need to keep having you on the show so you feel bad and keep inviting me to be on your show.
No doubt, man. I mean, whatever works, right? I need to get Caleb on. You've been on here a couple of times. I need to get Caleb on, but I always enjoy going on, and it feels like every time I go on with you guys, we talk a little bit of everything. High school football sometimes, baseball, obviously Tennessee football. So
can I switch the roles real quick and ask you some questions?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Who is, so you kind of cover recruiting a little bit. Who's the best prospect that you see in this 2024 class currently committed to Tennessee?
Currently committed to Tennessee? Probably Mike Matthews. He's really good. He's a go-getter in terms of great balance, great athleticism. He is dominated in terms of receiving yards, touchdowns, and everything at a program where they run the football a lot. And he had a big-time senior season. Jake Merklinger had a really, really good senior season. We know the level that he's playing at. In this 24 class, currently uncommitted, top target still available, obviously. And Jordan Seaton is just a freaking stud, number one offensive tackle. He was just here on campus a little while ago, so we'll see if they can close with him. But I would probably go Mike Matthews. And I'll give you an underrated one, Kellen Lindstrom, that nobody talks about. I think he's going to be a stud. Okay. My underrated guy last year, and we got to see it play out because he got hurt and just a freshman. My underrated guy last year was Tyree Weathersby. I think he's going to be an animal. So we'll see about him. We'll see about Lindstrom.
What about Boo Carter? You all in on Boo Carter?
I like Boo. Boo's
You've seen him play a lot in person too, right?
Yeah, I've seen him play a ton in person. He would have the ball in his hands if I was coach. For Boo and a lot of young people, I'm not singling out Boo. Just stay focused. Keep the main thing the main thing. Get in here, get invested, weight training, school, class, all that. I know that the plan is to kind of play him at safety. I think he's going to make an immediate impact on special teams as a returner his freshman year, but he's dynamic, man. He's fun to watch, and he would be playing wide receiver for me. But I get it. I think I've seen him come downhill and smack some people, too, at safety. So either way, it should be exciting.
We need the help at receiver. So if they're not willing to play a young guy in the secondary, I mean, maybe receiver is the place for him to be.
Yeah, maybe so.
One more question before we get out of here. Sorry that if I'm keeping you.
No, you're good.
Who would you rather have coach you? Eli Drinkowitz or Shane Beamer?
God bless. Easy for me.
Okay.
It would be, well, it depends on, I'll make this my own here. As you know, man, I took a lot of pride in special teams at Carson Newman. So
number 40.
Yeah, baby. My seat on the bus, freshman year, sophomore year, whatever it was. From that perspective, Shane Beamer, because I think Shane Beamer is a really good special teams coach, always has been.
Okay.
As far as a head coach, God, I do not want to play for Shane Beamer. I can't stand him. Literally, Butch Jones 2.0. I mean, it is just spitting image.
Mm-hmm.
Having said that, I think Eli Drinkwitz is a clown. I think that he tries so hard to be snarky and to stay relevant, but I do think he is a good offensive mind. I really do, and he deserves credit, man. This team this year is doing really, really well. He's annoying and all that, but at least now he's having a good year to where he can kind of back it up a little bit. So I would say Eli Drinkwitz is a head coach. As a special teams coach, Shane Beamer, but I would not play football before I'd be coached by either one of those guys.
Yeah. I mean, we went from losing to Shane Beamer last year to hear all that for a year, and then we lose to Dorkowitz and him standing on business. And we don't even play him next year. So we get to hear that until we play them again. So that sucks.
We stand on business right here at VolQuest. God bless. Job's getting crossed over. Yeah, we do that at VolQuest too, but here at Locked On Vols. Landon, thanks so much for joining me, man. Again, let's continue to collaborate. You come on here, and I'll go on y'all's show. And it's going to be a long off season. We'll have fun with basketball and baseball, but it's sad that football season's over. But we'll continue to do this. All right.
I love it, man. Happy Thanksgiving. Appreciate everything.
Great chatting with Landon Raby, the co-host of the More Important Issues podcast. You guys go ahead and check that out if you want even more Tennessee content. Love collaborating with other Tennessee podcasters. I think it's a good thing, and there's enough content to go around because you crazies want it and soak it in. And again, I can't be more thankful for that for sure. So to end this show, I wanted to have a little fun. We went a little long there with Landon. That's okay. But today is Thanksgiving Day. No, we're not talking football. We're not talking basketball. We're not talking baseball. We're not talking sports here. We'll get back into it on a Friday Locked On Vols. But you might be on your way to Thanksgiving Day lunch, Thanksgiving Day dinner. Maybe you're sitting there in a food coma on the couch and you're watching me on the television on YouTube. Thank you for that. I want to talk about the best Thanksgiving Day sides, or the best parts about the Thanksgiving Day meal. I'm on the record here. This is not a side, but the best part about Thanksgiving, in my opinion, is the turkey sandwiches for the days that follow. Now, growing up, my mom, all out, family would always come into our house, and my mom was the cook, and we'd have Thanksgiving Day meals, and we did all that. So living there, just walk upstairs in the fridge. You got leftover turkeys for days. Now that I'm an adult and I still go there, it's hard to request some take-home trays to have all that turkey readily available. But the best part about Thanksgiving is the leftover turkey sandwiches for the days that follow. Man, you get you some bread, a little wheat bread, put on that turkey, slap some lettuce on there. Nothing nutritious. We're not going to put kale on there or spinach leaves on there. We're just going to put a little slab of lettuce on there, put some cheese, throw you some Ruffles chips in there, mash it together, and hey, you got food for Friday, for Saturday, for Sunday. That is the best part about Thanksgiving, in my opinion. More so than being with family and friends. No, I'm just kidding. But that's the best food-related thing about Thanksgiving. But when I think about Thanksgiving, man, I think about those sides and everything that's just so good. And this isn't necessarily just related to Thanksgiving. I'm from the South. I'm from East Tennessee, all right? Mashed potatoes and gravy. Love mashed potatoes and gravy, okay? We eat that, whenever we have, meals throughout the year. Something's different about turkey and mashed potatoes and gravy. Love it. Big cornbread guy. Don't usually have cornbread for Thanksgiving in our household. Typically, that's still situated for the rolls. But man, we love us some mashed potatoes and gravy. Also, here's something Southern for you. How about corn casserole? As I've gotten older, I'm not the biggest corn guy. Not gonna lie to you. I'd rather have green beans. Rather have spinach, rather have asparagus, rather have stuff like that. I don't F's with the peas, that's for sure. But something about cream of corn is good, but give me corn casserole. Corn casserole is something that I never have unless it's Thanksgiving. Love me some corn casserole. A couple times throughout the year, we'll have broccoli casserole. But every year at Thanksgiving, we've got the broccoli casserole with the Cheez-Its on top. That's a Thanksgiving food. Corn casserole is a Thanksgiving food. My sister's mother-in-law makes corn pudding, and it's fantastic. Love that as well. I'm trying to think of what else are hits that are typically a little different from your typical just meal throughout the year. Of course, you can have green beans. I'll have green beans. Deviled eggs. When I was little, they were okay. As an adult, I'm not getting deviled eggs whatsoever. Just not very big on the deviled eggs. But I'm trying to think what else we can have in terms of sides. A lot of people are shouting right now, and I haven't gotten to it yet. Okay, I'll get to it. Cranberry sauce. No. Not good on the cranberry sauce. Cannot stand the cranberry sauce. Don't want it. Not about it. Sweet potatoes. I'm not a sweet potato guy. A lot of people are. I'm not a sweet potato guy, but typically you're either going to have sweet potato casserole at Thanksgiving. You're not going to have, again, make it your own. Everybody's Thanksgiving meal is different, but typically at my household, in my family, we don't have baked potatoes, but there will be sweet potato casserole. So to each their own. What about desserts? A lot of people saying pecan pie. Is it pecan pie? Is it pecan pie? I've always said pecan, but just now, seconds ago, just said pecan. Pecan pie, not a big fan of pecan pie, but it's there. Coconut cake, not a big fan of coconut cake, but it's there. I love Hershey bar pie. Super simple to make. Go get an Oreo crust from your local store. Go buy a 6-pack of Hershey bars and something else, forgetting what it is, but I've made it before. It's super simple. You melt all that stuff, stir it together, put it in put whipped cream on top, get you a last little bit of a Hershey bar and shred it for the little chocolate shreds on top, put it in the freezer. You will thank me later. It's super easy. It's so good. I love Hershey bar pie. Banana pudding is always at my Thanksgiving Day table as well. And I don't eat all this at one time, but like I said, now that I'm an adult, I'll have my wife and we'll just get like 4 or 5 to-go trays, and we'll load those things up, man, and we'll take them home. So I love turkey. We like turkey. There will be a ham option, but for Thanksgiving, it's all about turkey for me. And I'll end with this, as we're devoting an entire segment to Thanksgiving Day foods. I'll end with this. Thanksgiving's fun. I don't hate Thanksgiving. But Thanksgiving is simply opening day for Christmas. I think Peter Burns of the SEC Network tweeted it out Wednesday, and I couldn't agree more. Thanksgiving is opening day for Christmas. For me, the morning after Halloween is opening day for Christmas, but Thanksgiving is the official opening day for Christmas, and Christmas is the best time of the year. But Thanksgiving's fun. It's enjoyable. Sometimes it can be stressful. Hopefully it's not stressful for you guys. Hope you guys stay safe, travels to and from. Again, if you're in a food coma right now, listen to this podcast. Rest up. Go get some seconds for dinner tonight and for that midnight snack. It's a whole lot of fun. But super thankful for all you guys. Truly am. This show would not be. I say this. This show would not be what it is without you. There's a lot of shows. There's a lot of podcasts in America. A lot of sports podcasts. There's a lot of sports podcasts that people devote days and hours and time in that do not have the engagement, do not have the monetary benefits like this one does, and it's all because of you guys, and I'm so thankful for you guys. So hope you guys enjoyed your day. Happy Thanksgiving, and we'll come back and we'll preview Tennessee and Vanderbilt, talk to Boogie Bentley on a Friday, Locked On Vols. Until then, guys, stay safe, sweet dreams in those food comas, and we'll get at it again on Friday.